The story begins with Justice League returning to Earth from a mission in a distant galaxy. As Javelin has run out of fuel, Green Lantern is towing the vessel with his ring. As they approach the Watchtower, Superman contacts Batman in the tower. Just as they arrive, there is a blinding flash of light, and by the time light has faded, Batman and the Watchtower are gone. Justice League decides to land, and they find themselves in Metropolis, but it is not the same. League is shocked to find how things have changed, huge buildings covered with Nazi-style flags everywhere. A squad of security guards appears and demands their identification. Flash goes for a sarcastic remark but ends up being the target of guards' open fire. For a time, League engages with the soldiers, but as more backup arrives, the League decides to scatter. Suddenly a stranger pulled them into an underground hideout. This saved their lives, and their savior is someone very familiar to them, the Batman. But this is not their usual Batman, this is the future rebel leader of World War III.
No, I'll ask the questions. Who are you?
Bat, you're starting to scare me.
I scare a lot of people.
In this timeline, Batman's story is different. For speaking up, Bruce's parents were executed, labeling them as dissidents by the fascist regime headed by Vandal Savage. Bruce now leads the resistance against the regime. In this reality, Nightwing, Dick Grayson and Batgirl, Barbara Gordon are a couple. When John asks how long the regime has been in place, Bruce answers, since World War II, which the Axis powers won. Axis powers is the group that fought against the Allies, combination of Nazi Germany, the Kingdom of Italy, and the Empire of Japan. Martian Manhunter quickly concludes that something has happened which caused the timeline to be altered. While how the League wasn't affected isn't certain, Team guesses that Green Lantern's ring shielded them from the effects. Next, the League, with Batman's help, infiltrates Savage's laboratory, and finds a time machine. It looks like the Savage has used it to travel through time and alter history. The League decides to travel back in time and try to put things right, but there is one major risk. Other than wiping everyone out from present in a case of error, according to the Savage's scientists, the portal will collapse in 48 hours. So, Batman decides to remain behind, saying that if they fail, someone will have to keep fighting against the regime. John speaks to Batman about what will happen to him if the League alter the history. Batman gladly sacrifices his present and future for the future of greater good. Taking one last look at Batman, Wonder Woman finally dives into the portal. Entered into the time portal, the League finds themselves in the ravaged city of Cone, France, in the midst of heavy fighting between Allied and German forces. Right away they see what has changed. The Germans are equipped with war wheels, enormous tanks with overwhelming firepower and crushing size, that even Superman is unable to stop by himself. As the Allied forces fall back, the League disables one of the tanks. They examine the electronic systems and find transistors, which weren't invented until after the war. John and Wonder Woman decide to fly to Berlin to find out more about the source of this weaponry. In Berlin, word comes from the front, about a group of Allied heroes, with strange costumes and magical powers. However, Vandal Savage, the Führer, dismisses the stories as propaganda. Suddenly, the Berlin palace begins to vibrate. Outside of the palace, bombs have been exploded and fires has been broken out. Amidst the chaos, a spy, different from the natives, sneaks into a fighter plane. As Diana and John approach Berlin, this American spy steals a German fighter. His plane is pursued and shot down, the spy escapes, but he is knocked out before opening his parachute. Wonder Woman catches him, and he awakens to see her bending over him.
An angel.
The guy introduces himself as Steve Trevor, and explains his mission. Allied intelligence believes that the Germans are planning to invade England. Steve has stolen one of the Germans' encrypted communicators, and is due to meet a German code expert. If he can crack the communicator, he'll be able to listen in and find out when the invasion is set for. Wonder Woman and John are surprised to hear that Savage, the dictator from the future, is the current Führer. He is apparently a scientific genius whose new weapons impressed the high command so much that they made him their new leader. So where is the true leader of Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler? You will soon find that out. Next, Wonder Woman decides to accompany and protect Steve while John continues on and infiltrates the German Central Command. In a secret laboratory, he finds a laptop computer, and something unspeakable. He rests, frozen in a cryogenic tube. John is astonished, but before he leaves, he is incapacitated by Savage. On the battlefield, Savage's war wheels rush onto a defenseless Green Lantern. As more tanks appear, the League works to evacuate the Allied forces. While carrying a wounded soldier, Green Lantern is knocked down. Hawkgirl goes to help him, but he hands off his soldier to her and tells her to leave him. Reluctantly, she complies. As the tanks bear down on him, his ring finally runs out of power. So is this the end? No, it's the beginning of a new story we have never imagined. Subscribe and stay tuned as we'll bring you the second part of this fascinating story.